Max Verstappen fought back from a 5-second penalty with a damaged car to win a gripping Las Vegas Grand Prix. He complained on Wednesday it was 99% show, but the show was all on track in one of the best races of the season. Verstappen, his teammate Sergio Perez and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc swapped and re-swapped places throughout as they fought for the podium positions. Verstappen moved into the lead with 16 laps to go, but Leclerc passed Perez back on the final lap to secure second. Verstappen was penalized 5 seconds for forcing Leclerc off track at the first corner, suffered a damaged front wing in a collision with Mercedes' George Russell and made an extra pit stop than Leclerc under a mid-race safety car, the second in an action-packed race. But the pace of the man who has utterly dominated the season inevitably prevailed, and he climbed back up to pass Leclerc for the lead with 13 laps to go for his 18th win of his record-breaking season. There were battles throughout the field as F1 put on the spectacle its bosses had hoped for when they invested upwards of £500 million, including building a pit building on a plot of land the sport bought in the center of the Nevada city. The investment, which will take in the region of 3 years to be repaid, already proved worthwhile as the drivers staged arguably the best race of the season. Las Vegas has a wow setting to rival Monaco. Checkered Flag Podcast, Las Vegas Grand Prix Review. A race befitting the hype. The drama began at the beginning when Verstappen, making a better start than Leclerc from second on the grid, got up the inside of the Ferrari into the first corner. But the Dutchman misjudged his braking and forced Leclerc wide and off track as both cars speared into the runoff area. It was reminiscent of some of the controversial moves pulled by Verstappen on Lewis Hamilton in their titanic battle for the title in 2021. He protested that he was ahead at the apex, but that was untrue, and the stewards agreed with Leclerc that the move was worthy of a penalty. "I didn't mean to push Charles off the track, but I couldn't slow down. Looking back, the penalty was probably the right call." Leclerc wanted Verstappen to give him back the position, but Red Bull decided to leave their driver where he was and take the penalty, which the world champion served at his first pit stop on lap 16. But that pit stop was from second place, not the lead. Rather than waltz off into the distance after taking the lead, Verstappen found it impossible to shake off Leclerc, and as Verstappen struggled with his tires after lap 10, the Ferrari closed in and was able to pass the Red Bull at the end of the strip on lap 16, triggering the Red Bull stop. That put Leclerc in the lead and he stayed out for a further 5 laps, now with Perez behind him. The Mexican had dropped to the back when he was involved in a melee at the first corner involving several cars and needed a pit stop for a new front wing. But he moved up the field, helped by not stopping under the first safety car, triggered by a heavy crash for Lando Norris' McLaren. In pictures, bright lights and black holes at Las Vegas GP. Leclerc's pit stop on lap 21 put Perez into the lead, and his race was aided enormously by a safety car shortly afterwards, called to recover debris from the track following the Russell-Verstappen collision. The debris was Verstappen's front wing end plate, but its loss seemed not to slow him down. At the safety car, Perez pitted for a second set of hard tires, as did Verstappen, while Leclerc, on tires only 5 laps old, did not. The stops dropped Perez and Verstappen to second and fifth, Verstappen also behind the Alpine of Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri's McLaren. At the restart, Leclerc managed to hold Perez off, despite the 5-lap tire offset, for 3 laps before the Red Bull got him on the straight. Rather than dropping away, Leclerc hung on to Perez and repassed him with a stunning late-braking move at the end of the strip on lap 34. By now, Verstappen had picked off Gasly and Piastri and homed in on the leaders, and he passed Perez down the strip 2 laps later. Leclerc fought as hard as he could, but the inevitable happened on lap 37 as Verstappen steamed past into turn 14 with the help of the DRS overtaking aid. Perez then chased Leclerc and took back second place, and Red Bull looked to be on for a 1-2. But Leclerc had other ideas. He hung on to Perez, and as the race neared its climax he was on the Red Bull's tail as they started the final lap, and down the straight he made another great late-braking move to clinch second into turn 14 at the end of the strip. Las Vegas Grand Prix, a plan 40 years in the making. Track issues cause chaos in Las Vegas GP practice. He admitted after the race that Ferrari had not pitted under the second safety car because they did not know what the others would do, and said, "We got a little bit unlucky there.